Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Steve Wraith's True Crime podcast. A little bit different from the football ones we've been doing, but this is the first one that I've done on True Crime, and I'd like to welcome my good friend Brian Cockerell, the taxman. How are you, Brian?
I'm fine, thank you, Stephen. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. How are you coping through? How are you coping through this horrendous lockdown period? It's been tough for everybody, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been tough, but I've got a beautiful wife with me, so it's all fresh for me being married and everything. So we're still on our honeymoon, so it hasn't really affected us. Apart, we had it, like I said to you before. We've got over it now. We're just fighting fit. We're training. Both of us are training in the gym every day. Got a little gym upstairs and that, and a bit of boxing. We're getting through it doing a bit of basic training and stuff like that, and just doing a little bit of shopping and stuff, and doing the garden, taking the dogs out.
Good stuff, mate. That's good. So, Brian, the reason I got you on is obviously you've got a new book out.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, this one's The Resurrection of Brian Cockerel. It's been written by Jamie Boyle, published by Warcry Press. Let's talk about the early days. You know, tell us a little bit about where you were brought up and what your childhood was like, Brian.
I was brought up in Hartlepool. We came from Scotland originally, and we moved to Middlesbrough. And then I moved to Hartlepool, and when I was about 9 years old, I used to go to school at St Helens, and I used to get bullied there as a kid because I had the Scottish accent, and I also had dyslexia. And in them days, people thought you were just thick. And the teacher would say, "You'll never learn Cockerel. I've told you to tell you about how to spell." But obviously, it's an illness now. They know it's totally different now. But your class is like burn them at the stake type of thing. You got a spelling wrong, they'd put you on a chair. If you got a tongue spelling, they'd put you on the table. You'd stand there, embarrassed in front of the whole classroom, and they'd put you in the thick class. And I went to a special school, so I got bullied quite a lot when I was born with a dislocated hip. So I had a bit of a limp when I was a kid, and I was a bully's paradise. To look at him, he can't fight back. So he's a little tiny kid. So I was really thin as a kid, and I started the big school, and I had a fight with someone after getting bullied since I was about 9 years old till I was about 13. So I had a fight with someone, and I beat. I thought, well, this is better than running away and hiding and trying to get away from them. So I can't stand bullies. You know, people have called me a bully in the past, but I've never bullied anyone, as you know. Stephen Sayers can verify that, and other people who are well documented. But I can't stand bullies. So I'm the first person to jump in and help someone, you know, because it's horrific. So I first started turning on the weights when I was 13. And I got a set of weights, so I wanted to be like Arnold Schwarzenegger or the Hulk or someone like that type of thing, and they give me inspiration. If I could be, it sounds crackers, but even Dennis Wharton, you know, mind him, he was the tough guy for Diggy Cole. But when you're only a kid, like 12, 13, 14, 15, you have these fantasies, and you watch films like Samson Delilah where he pushes the pillars down and think, imagine having that type of strength. So I started training when I was 13, but I got a first set of weights off my uncle. He owed my mum a few quid. So he gave her these weights for me, and I started training. I didn't have a clue, and I started going to the gym in Park Road in Hartlepool, and it's still there now, that gym. I went to another few gyms, but then I left home when I was about 18, moved to Redcar, and then I started working in the gym. And I trained for 3 years, and I went into Mr. England, under 21s, and I come fifth in the show. And I did a few other shows, come fifth. And then I moved into the powerlifting. Then I got a job at all when I was 20 years old from Redcar. This is where the fighting started, and you'd have a fight with one lad, and somebody else would come, his brother, and you fight him, and just kept going on. And I just worked the doors, you see.
Yeah. So it's quite a tough place to grow up in the northeast, and the northeast, a working class area. But Middlesbrough, and that, and those areas are really, really tough. What I'm gonna do is, Brian, we've got a little bit of insight about you. I'm going to open it up to people watching, because people like to ask questions. And when we get back out of lockdown, I'm going to come down and do a proper interview with you. So David Dean says, who's the hardest man you came up against, Brian?
The hardest man I ever came up against, well, there was quite a few. There was the hardest men I came up, probably Lee Duffy, Dave Garside, the dentist, who was 6'8", top fight gypsy, and he used to hit you with the right hand and knock all your teeth out. You had to go to the dentist. But he had a fight with me in Spennymoor and knocked all his teeth out, and he had to go to the dentist. So that was his nickname, the dentist. So quite a lot. I went to fight Viv Graham, tough man, as you know. Stephen Sayers arranged a fight for us. Didn't want to know. Somebody tried to pay him 10 grand to fight me. He copped on that. Then I went to Newcastle to fight with the Madisons on my own. And I was up there with the Stephen and Stevie Abaddon and all them type of people. And Rob Armstrong, a lot of them were there, you know, and he never turned up. But we were supposed to have a fight. Jimmy and Gary Robbo and the nightclubs put 25 grand up for him to fight me, and Stephen put 25 grand up to have a 150 grand fight. And they'd got, I think they were getting 30, and I was getting 20 grand. So I'd done well, but Steve didn't want to know. And then they had the fight with Lee Duffy. That was a hard fight. The fight with Dave Garson, that was a hard fight. But I've had fights with lads who were like, you think of nobodies. And they've been hard, you know, like 13, 14 stone lads. And I've been 24 stone. You've struggled because they've been good boxers. So it's like Eddie Buick. Look at him. You wouldn't think he's that good. The lad from Sunderland. And he's phenomenal. So you can never judge a book by its cover. You know, just phenomenal.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, great answer. Paul Boyce says, can you ask Brian about taxing drug dealers and the violence? Thanks. Okay. I mean, you know, that's where you got the nickname from, Brian, isn't it?
That's right. Well, what happened is Lee Duffy we'd had a bit of a fight. I went looking for him. I tried to fight him another 5 times, and in the end, he wanted to shake my hand and say sorry and everything. So we teamed up, and it was like the top fighters in the T-side together. Probably, I'm not trying to blow my trumpet or Leeds, but probably maybe the best 2 fighters in the country at the time. Like the tag team doing it together. So we started taxing drug dealers. We went around houses and kicking doors in. I was 24 stone then. It was ridiculously strong. And Lee could fight for fun as well. So we're both of us together. We were a massive force. And we used to kick doors and tax drug dealers. But sadly, while I went to jail for 3.5 months, Lee was killed. He was attacked. He was shot twice. He was thrown petrol on and somebody sat in the light, and he was stabbed in the back and killed. So he died when I was in jail. And it had a bit of an effect on me. I thought, well, I'm on my own now. So I had to come out to face all this people type of thing. But I thought, fuck you, I'm not bothered. But I was only 27 when I got out of jail. So you don't bother at that age type of thing. So come out, start taxing drug dealers. And when I was 27 and a half or something, I went to Tommy Harrison's house in Middlesbrough, Ormsby Bank. And they set about me. There was people from Liverpool, from Newcastle, big players, you know. I won't mention names. The other side of not the stairs, but the other gang.
Yeah.
Give you a clue, them all know what I'm talking about. And they tried to kill me in the house, and they chopped me up, stabbed me, hit me with bars. I got 167 stitches, and I was left for dead. But I put loads of them down, and they had massive what I'd done. And they got caught because when they come out of the house, they were seen on Ormsby Bank. There's something like 3,000 cars an hour go by off duty. Policemen took the registration on. They got caught in the A19, and they got caught with the baseball bats, the shotguns, and all sorts, and the jeeps and that. So it was like 3 carfuls of them, a jeep and 3 cars, and they got remanded. So I went on remand thing to see the visiting them, and I got them off because to me they were no good in jail. I wanted them out so I could get my revenge. So 4 of them have been killed. 2 of them, one's had his eye took out, and the others have killed themselves and doing this. So I don't have to divine intervention, but I've got my revenge back anyway. But there with them days, you know, it was mad then, as you know yourself. In Newcastle was crackers with people getting shot every day of the week.
Yeah, crazy times, like the Wild West. Paul
Exactly.
Coombs says, ask Brian about the top hat again, Steve. The story about the lad getting run over arguing with him.
Oh, yeah. We were on the door, and we worked in the top hat, and we were like, remember the Magnificent Seven? There was 7 of us worked the door. It was like the cowboy film. And we goes into there. We'd never been in it. It was like going to Indian territory up there, you know. And we went there, and we started working the door, and there was some nice people, lovely people. Then there was a big gang come. As I say, about 40 of them. They're all like National Front skinheads, and they were throwing money at us at first. I was picking the money up. Then they started throwing stones. So I runs out, and I banged 2 or 3. Then another one come, and I banged him, and I knocked another one out. So anyway, I knocked one down, and the others were all knocked out on the floor. And I was only about 17.5 stone. I was only 22 years old. But I was like training really hard on the bags, and I had a 6-pack and all that stuff. Anyway, I knocked this lad down. As I was walking backwards, he went, "You knocked me down, but it didn't hurt." And then a car come, bang, hit him, broke both his legs, ran him over. So I was on the door, and then the police come by the walk, and the police, I thought, shit, I'm going to nick me. He said, "No, did you hear about that young lad who got knocked over?" I said, "Oh, yes, officer, I've seen it." He said, "The ironic thing was, it was his own car. It was his brother-in-law coming to pick him up." So he ran down by his own car. So, mad thing.
Changing the game UK says, when you wake up and look in the mirror, Brian, what do you see?
I see a different person that I was years and years ago. I see a happy person because I'm obviously married with my wife and everything now. And I'm helping people. I mean, I've just got a thing from an army lad today who I helped, thanking me for getting him off the streets and getting him into accommodation. I've got another army lad that helped a couple of months ago. He's combat vet, you know, Marvellous and Marine. He's thanked me today for getting him off the drugs, the drink, and helping him. And I'm just helping people every day of the week. And I think my purpose is doing this now. I wish I'd done it years ago, but if I hadn't done what I'd done years ago, I couldn't help people with the advice I've got. You know, I've been in the field type of thing. You know what it's like. Obviously, I was on drugs, a drug addict, I'm really bad. So if I can get off the drugs, anyone can get off them. So you really have to want to get off them, and you must meet people halfway. You can't say I'm getting off it and go back on, because you're never going to get there. So people like Emma behind me, things like that as well. So I'll never go back on them now. So I feel like elated. Like that's why we called it the resurrection of Brian Cockerel. People think, oh, he's trying to be Jesus. I'm not trying to be Jesus. I'm nothing like Jesus. All I'm trying to do is, there was a phoenix, a bird called the resurrection of the phoenix type thing. So I did it after that because he come back stronger and bigger and fitter. So I'm not saying I'm going to be bigger and fitter, but I'm training really good now. And my purpose is I've got a good life now, you know, helping people.
Yeah, great stuff, Brian. Craig Popham says this is the best stream setup I've seen this lockdown. Thanks, Craig. Remember that fight at Spennymoor, Paul says.
Say again.
Paul Coombs says, can you remember a fight at Spennymoor?
Oh, I've had quite a few up there, hundreds of fights up there. So it was never ending up there. Every night we're knocking someone out and fighting people and chasing people. But yeah, there's loads up there. But I've had fights everywhere. I mean, I remember one time we went to a Red Cat to have a fight with some lads, and there was like Big Richie Horsey and them come with the Hartlepool and Vulture and Lancaster and all. And we went to have a fight with someone. We got there. There's about 30 of them. We got out with our hands to have a fight, and they started shooting at us. But there were them little Dillinger guns, you know, them little ones where you can shoot at a back gun and miss it. So I was lucky because there were 6 of them shooting at me. I thought they're only fucking blanks. But when I turned around, the van moved and all the windows were put through. And the lad who was with us about 2 hours later said, "What's that?" I said, "You've been shot." And he passed out. I had to pull out with tweezers. But it was only like a little tiny bullet. But they made a bang, you know. But and they said, "Brian Cockerel run like fuck." I said, "I'd have beat Linford Christie and I've made run like fuck. You can't beat bullets, can you?" So that's how tough you are. Yeah.
Jason Sutter says, do you regret anything in your past, Brian?
Probably going down that type of road to taxing, because I could have been like world-class world songs. I'm saying I would have won it, but I was up there with I've trained with top world-class world songs men, meet people like Tom Platt and Bertel Fox and training with people like that, and you know, it was really good. But I think if I didn't be the taxman, I wouldn't be on podcasts like this and like to change my life around. Like, other people can see what I've done and they can do it, because it's not easy, but if I can do it, anyone can do it. Yeah,
100%. Pistol Pete, who do you think would have won in your opinion, Lee Duffy or Viv Graham, Brian?
About 100% Lee Duffy. Too much reach for him, a lot younger, too much power, and a lot more fitter than Viv. Viv was more at the steroids, and Duffy wasn't really on steroids enough. And he only took steroids when he was going to fight me, Duffy, because I was that big, you know, when I was throwing him around. But in the end, he went to jail and he come out, and obviously he saw sense, so he ended up being friends with me. So, yeah, but I think I was going to, like I say, I was going to, you know that yourself, I was going to fight Viv a few times. It didn't come off, but I think Viv was one of them people you'd go out with where you'd have a drink and he'd be drinking water and they'd be drinking vodka, and halfway through the night, he'd offer you out or punch on the sly. You know, he was really known for, like the Stewie Watson, carry on the, you know, sly punches. So, like your Eddie Buick's, pure gentleman, you know, he's one of them. I'll meet you, like he did with Big Billy Robinson. No disrespect to him, but he won the fight with the size of him. You'd never think he'd won the fight with something like 10 stone heavier than him. But he's super, super fit, Eddie, you know. And he taught me about how, he said, every fight's different, Brian. You might be fighting one person and you might be on 6. So I used to do, like, say, a 3-minute round on the bag. And then I learned to do a 10-minute round on the bag, because sometimes you could be fighting for 10 minutes. So you've got to just switch it. In the streets, totally different. There's no cornerman. There's no minute rest. There's no referee to stop it. It's totally different. Somebody, look at Lee Duffy, he was fighting, and he won. You got stabbed to death in the back. So you've got eyes in the back of your head when you fight in the street.
Yeah, good point. Ross Cummins says, if you could go back in time, Brian, what would you change and why?
Probably never taking crack, never taking drugs, 100%. And I'd tell anyone, do not take drugs, because if you start to try and sell them, you end up taking them, because you end up being on your own supply. Don't get high on your own supply, they say, but you can't help it, because the depression says, I'll have a little bit. Or you think you're clever with lads, I'll have a bit. It's like alcoholics, I'll have a bit, then alcoholics. So I advise never, if people want to have a little drink and that, no problem. But when it comes to drugs, not any drug, because 1 leads to another, and 2 leads to 3 and 4 and 5. And with crack cocaine, there's an old saying, 1's too many and 1,000's never enough.
Yeah. Good point. Arena Basher, what does Brian do for his kicks these days? I'm sure he misses the buzz.
No. Well, saving people's lives. I've saved something like 21 people in the last 6-7 months from committing suicide. Talk loads down from America and everyone, all the place. I did a podcast with other people that've gone to America. And I've saved loads of people's lives. That buzz of saving somebody's life and helping somebody to go to the hospital and from cut the wrists to getting there, there's a better buzz than making £1 million or beating the best fighters in the world. My depression was you get to a certain age, like your Frank Browners, your Mike Tyson's, and your other top fighters have been there, and then they can't do what they used to do, so they get depressed, so they start taking drugs. There's no buzz, but I've already taken all the drugs, so I don't want it. So I've gone the reverse to them. So I'm out of all. I'm back to the gym, train like I was when I was young, every day, train like 6 days a week, and keeping fit and biking and things like that, and bits of shadow boxing, that, you know. But I think it's not better than training because it produces natural endorphins and it makes you feel good. You never see miserable athletes. So I think if you're going to get off any drugs, one of the best things you can do is get in the gym and channel your energy into that.
Macca from Liverpool, Dave Mackay, hope you're well, mate. He says, do you know many lads from Liverpool or Merseyside, like the likes of Terry O'Neill, Gary Spires, Alfie Lewis, Tommy Gildia? Lots of hard men from Merseyside. Do you know anybody from down there, Brian?
I think Tommy Gildia was he. I think he had to go with Duffy in Liverpool years ago for Brian. I was telling my missus about this. The Scrolls told me Duffy struggled with him because he's a big lump of a lad if it's the same one.
Yeah.
He had him on the floor and Mr. Bolt was a Scroll. They said he pulled him off. So I know Mark Styles, Steve Connors and them, because I was in Liverpool, I was in jail in there. And it was like massive jail compared to, I think it's 1,700 prisoners and 600 Screws. And I remember Duffy saying he got a good ironing if there, about 6-7 Screws, beaten to death nearly, and he cried his eyes out on the floor and cried up in a ball. So it was like a gothic type jail, you know. But I got on with all the lads in there. I had a fight with the top fighter and I beat him. And I got the job in the boxes. I was making the food in the kitchens, you know. I was getting steaks and the Screws coming. He said, it's like fucking Goodfellas in here about the food you've got. Anyway, all the nonsense is supposed to get oranges. So me and Steve Connors, who run I think it's called Cream, the nightclub they had down there. They used to have the doors down there. And we took all the oranges, made orange juice for ourselves for a fortnight or so. So, yeah, we had a good. You've just got to make the most of it. If you commit the crime, you've got to do the time. And it's simple as that. So you can't get out of it. And the noise fighting the Screws and arguing, things like that, and just get on with it because they're the boss in there. You're not going to beat them because you don't think you're just betting on just getting on with people, you know, and being polite.
Yeah. David Dean says, did you ever cross paths with Big Billy Robinson?
No, I met him in the nightclub and he wanted me to go around his house and have a bit of stuff in that because we were all in the doors. He was polite and him and all the gates, I'd like to call him Steve the Hammer.
Yeah, good.
Lovely lad. I was in jail with him. He was crying when he was getting out. I'm gonna miss you. He was cuddling me and everything. He was a lovely big lad, him, like, you know. And he was another one set about too when he was drunk and he dropped him about 5-6 times, but he didn't knock Stevie out. But Stevie said, I was drinking all night. And he said, do you want a picture with us? And he punched him on the fly and hit him, you know, he was telling me the fight. Jeff Brown was another one who was in there, was with us, and we're all in Wheelston years ago, and I used to train. And I said, I've never known anyone as fit as you, big fella. I used to do an hour circuit non-stop, press-ups and sit-ups and bare peas, and how the fuck can you do that? An hour non-stop, you know, like, so I used to do that 3 times a week, and I used to train the weights with them, but I got on with everyone because I'm polite, I'm not a bully, and I just get on with anyone and everyone.
Yeah.
To wait and do, I'll wait in the queue. I'm not one of these people, I'm Brian Cockerel, I'll push in. So, you know, I just if I'm waiting for the phone or something, just wait your turn. Just because you're the best fighter there, you don't have to be a bully. So I always be polite to people. You know, if I spill somebody's drink in a pub, I'll buy them a fresh drink. But sometimes you get people taking your kindness as a weakness. So we won't betide them.
Yeah, good stuff. Simon Lowe's says, all right, fellas. Brian, you're looking well, mate. That's from Simon Lowe's.
Hiya, Simon. He helped me do my lock on my door not long ago, just before the virus come. So I've got another job with big tanks leaking now. I've got him a list now. That's just out to the back door there.
Classic. Vision Dom FN says, Brian, are the blues parties still a thing in Borough? For anyone who's not from Middlesbrough, blues parties, of course, were where people used to basically just transform the house into little bars and clubs and spielers, and you'd be able to go around and have a bit of a session. I used to go to loads when I was a kid in South Shields, so they were good old days.
Yeah, they stopped building them. The rave scene, when I started the first rave, I got the Eclipse Club and everything. Then I got the Heaven Club, and then we had the Coliseum now. So we started the first raves back in the 1991, 92 type of thing. So that wiped them out because they were only little houses where they were horrible, stuffy houses type of thing. And you couldn't see in there nothing but when the rave scene come on. I mean, we'd all be fighting each other. He stabbed him, he shot him, he killed him. He take a couple of ecstasy tablets. Hiya, mate, how you doing? I know you killed me mum and my dad, but are we best friends? And everyone was kissing each other, everything in the raves. There'd be like 4,000 or 5,000 people in a rave, and the police was no trouble on the streets, so there was no problem with them. So, you know, it was probably great times. And Stephen says that he was always down with mine and Michael and that. We used to have some great times. You know, Stephen and that have always been friends out there. I'll just shout out to the both of them and say to Stephen and Michael and his dad, we're doing the movie, as you know, and you're in it, aren't you? Playing.
Yeah.
You're the best actor in it.
Oh, don't put pressure on me.
We'll have some good laughs, won't we, mate, when we start that. And thanks for like yourself and Gary Fairby, and he's playing Stephen. He's playing Viv, isn't he? And he was on the phone the other day because I'm going to go to the gym for him and help the kids up there at the Spartan gym and that. And I'm doing one for the Bale King. I'm going to the corner for him down. I think he's from Birmingham, so shout out to him. And it's just nice to help people, you know, and people asking for advice to box and train, and it's just nice to help people. It's really good.
We're having a bit of a film get-together here because Alfie Dobson's on, who's playing John Henry Sayers in the Sayers film. He says, "Hi, Brian. Hope you're well, mate. What is the most that you've ever bench pressed?"
I did £630 was the most I've ever done in Steel City, and I did a £2,000 leg press. I did 850 kilo leg press in home house. It's still on the wall now. And I did that about 11 years. 2011 it was. It's still on the wall. And I did £2,000 leg press. And I snapped the leg press in Steel City. And it's still broke 20 odd years later in the gym now. So, yeah, I was just super strong. I was benching £500 when I was about 22-year-old. You know, I had that strength, just hideous type of strength. But I remember benching Willie Duffy. I was doing £600. He was doing 3. And he said, "You having a go?" I said, "Yeah." And I walked around. I did about 20 reps with £300. He was like, he was stunned because he could only get 1 rep. You know, he couldn't believe how strong I was. But yeah, we had good times. But we used to change. What it was, we never trained at the same gym in case when he tried to shoot you. We trained different gyms all over. I had 5 or 6 cars, 5 or 6 different places to live. It's not a nice way to live, you know. It sounds great and all that stuff. At the end of the day, it's not a great thing to do, you know. So, probably one of the most dangerous jobs in the world. You know, everyone I know, like your Speedies, your Lee Duffys, all the other lads have been involved in it. My brother and Nine Lancasters and all these type of people, they've all been killed, you know, all been shot to death. So it's not real worth it. You're better just getting a job, getting a trade. And if you're good at sporting, fighting, get into the boxing like the people you know, get in the boxing like you Gary Fairby's that and make money legally instead of fighting on the streets. That because you fight in the streets, you're going to get stabbed to death nowadays. There's no such thing as a straight fight now. It's all knives.
John Barnes says, "Mike Tyson's looking for a fight. Brian, would you fight him?"
Oh, I've had this about 20 times. Sorry to interrupt you there, but I must have had it on all different podcasts asking me when to fight. I couldn't fight Tyson a million times. I've had a million fights with him in the ring. It's a total different thing. So they're professional athletes in the ring. It's totally different, you know. You get marble-rized in the street. It's different because you just smother them and they can't box. But in the ring, you're talking about elite boxers. But no disrespect to Tyson. I think he shouldn't come back because there's so many of them. Like Roy Jones was fantastic. And they've come back and made fools of themselves. I'm not called by names. I'd just be ashamed. I'm not leading it. Larry Holmes did it. You can't do what you did 20 years ago in the ring when you're 50-odd-year-old. Your body doesn't recover. It's like having a drink. You're going to have a drink. You're in bed 2 days back, so your body's telling you can't recover. So I think he should retire when he's done and leave his boxing career where it is, because if he starts fighting other people now, they're like 6'9" and 20 stone. It's huge. So I think it's a different era altogether now. Yeah.
Jason Suthers asks, with being a fighter, have you ever been involved in organised football scenes, like hooligans?
No.
Have you ever?
No, never. I'm just one of these who fight 1-to-1. You know, I'm not into gang fights and all that. I've had lads with us when I've had fights. When we had the fight with Garside, the second fight when I broke his jaw and we retired him from boxing, I had that fight. That was we had Stephen and them were there back me up, you know. But you couldn't go on your own because he had loads of lads on the dome. So you sometimes have to have people with you to have a straight fight, or you get stabbed like Lee Duffy did.
Getting a couple of mentions for Conroy. Jam Pot says Paddy Conroy versus Brian. Who would win? Now, I think it's safe to say Brian. It wouldn't be much of a contest.
Yeah, not much, mate. No.
Yeah, exactly. Arena Basher says, Steve, ask Brian what he makes of the death of MC Lee.
Who's MC Lee? I don't know. Oh, Lee Harrison, you mean?
Must
Lee
be,
Harrison,
yeah.
Yeah, Lee Harrison. Oh, it was sad to hear it, you know. He was one of the old school who used to say to me, Luffy, Duffy, united you stand, divided you fall. So loads of them who've been like around. That's what I'm saying. He's another one that involved in things, and he's been killed. You know what I mean? He was people are saying he killed himself in Egypt, but a lot of people, his dad said he was killed by the Syria, something like that. He was at, and he's been killed over there. So you can't go into them countries and do things where they're onto, you know. So that's why I'm saying drugs and everything else is no good, no good.
Yeah, Craig Popham says Bry would wipe the floor with Conroy. That's what I thought. Pistol Pete says, how you getting on during lockdown, Brian? What do you think of all this COVID-19 situation and how it's happened? I mean, lots of conspiracy theories, Brian, about COVID-19. I mean, what's your view on the whole thing?
Well, one of the things I've come up with is we've had it, me and my missus, and we've been to hospital and we've been tested, but we've had it and we've got rid of it. And what it does to people out there, it attracts mainly people not enough vitamin D. Most people who've died haven't had enough vitamin D in the system. I'm not sad, but that's probably because they're old people. Because when you're outside, vitamin D is made by the sunshine. But if you take vitamin D on its own, obviously you can produce it. But they're saying a lot of that. That's why they've died. But I think that's because they're inside and they're not in the sun type of thing. But I also think. I don't know if it's happening. I don't know if it's man-made or not. People are saying it's man-made to wipe out the older people, conspiracies, all sorts of things. But I think once you've had it, I think they know you've had it. They should give you something like a driving license type ID to say he's had it and I was cured. So they can open pubs for people who's had it and cured. Why should everyone suffer when they've already had it? So they've suffered enough. So I think there's loads of conspiracies, but you could go on forever, couldn't you?
Oh, 100%, mate. Yeah, Craig Popham says, did Bry and Duffy ever have any run-ins with Tucker and Tate? Of course, the guys who were killed in the Essex murders, the Range Rover murders.
My friend used to get steroids off Tucker and used to get vitamins and things like that off him. I said he was a really nice man, so I never had nothing to do with him, but I met a few lads from Essex who were friends of ours, and I did the book with Bernard O'Mahony, with this book. So I've never had nothing to do with them, though. I just stayed in my own manner type of thing.
Yeah, Jason Miller says he just wants to say respect for turning your life around, Brian.
Oh, thank you very much, mate. Thank you, appreciate that.
David Dean says top man Bry. David Mackay, he says, what are your views on the young lads of today?
They're watching party Brian Cockerel movies about gangsters and things. They need to get to work. They need to stop this stupid. I want to be better than you. My shoes are better than you. My coat's better than you. This is all that rubbish. It's just this material things. Like I'm going to get a gold watch. I'm going to get this, but it's immaterial. It's just material. At the end of the day, you can have 10 tellies in the house, but you can only watch one. You can have 10 bedrooms, you can only sleep in one. You can have 20 beds, you can only sleep in one. They've got this persona where they want to be like big time gangster. I think, no disrespect to these black lads, but they're copying off this gangster rap. I think a lot of that has to do with it. And they wanted to be like Tupac and all them type of things. And instead of getting the job and getting the trade, you'll make more money being working than you will a gangster or a taxman or anything else, because you either get killed or you go to jail for life, or you end up killing someone yourself and going to jail. So it's not worth it in the end, because they won't back down these days. They'll just chop you up with a knife. There's no fair fights. They'll come around, petrol bomb your house. If you don't pay them the money what you owe them, they'll come to your mum's and your dad's houses and petrol bomb them. So you're putting people's lives at danger, your family and yourself.
Yeah, Macca agrees with you. He says they don't seem to fight, just guns and stab you, no respect, which is true.
Yeah, well, I'm always one of these people. If I see, and I walked in all this lady to the post office about 6, 7, 8 months ago. It was blowing a gale, and I grabbed her arm. She was 70-year-old, and I walked at the post office, and I waited for her coming outside. And she said, "Oh, thank you very much, you're a gentleman," and all that. But things like that, it's just manners. I was brought up that way, I think a lot of respect of the kids. When you were a kid, if you were cheeky, your mum would give you a slap around the lug. Now you can't. I'm telling the police you hit me. So there's nothing to stop them doing what they want to do. They just do what they want to do. With teachers, them used to get the cane when I was a kid, as you know. And there was things there where you think, I dare not, I might get the cane off Mr. Sadler, or I might get in trouble. I'll have to be in. Now there's just no respect there. There's politeness has gone out the window type of thing.
Yeah, 100%. Simon Lowe says, nice one, mate. It sounds like the list's getting bigger. So obviously he knows now we've got some work to do at your house.
He's found another 5 whilst he's been outside for you, Simon.
Great stuff. Ellis says, do a charity boxing match against Sean Smith, the UK's scariest deck collector. And Lee Ellison says, Brian versus John Fury. That would have sold tickets.
Yeah, but I'm too old to do for all that. No, I can't be. I will have to kill me if I got involved in the fight now. I'm in the church and everything down helping people, so I can't say one thing I'm out of board then go back into it, can you? Because you've been a bit of a hypocrite then. I think I've done enough fighting for 100 men over my years, so yeah. She shouted in the background, no more fighting you, Steve.
Giver Mackay says that there are young lads this way earning nearly $1 million every few weeks. Do you think you would survive long taxing lads out of that much money today? Do you think you could survive in this day and age, Brian, if you were just a young lad?
No, you couldn't do it now. It's a different era because people the old age, you fight with your fists. You go in somebody's house, kick the door in, but it wouldn't be like women and kids in there. It'd be like tough lads, you know, you'd have a fight with them. You might have a bit of a ding-dong, but they wouldn't be getting stabbed. They wouldn't be getting battered. And another thing is, there's a million dealers in every town, so no one's got any money. You might kick the door in, Steve. You might get like an ounce. What's that going to do? You need 3 people to tax, one at the back door, one at the front, one to drive the car. Years ago, we used to kick the door and get like 10k a blow, and you'd have 20, 30 grand. You'd share it at 10 grand each or something. But now, there's that many dealers in every town. There's not enough. If there was only like, say, 10 in each town, like there used to be, or 20 in each town, you could make good money off them. But tax them, let them build up for 3 or 4 months, tax them again and do things. But now, there's just too many dealers. There's not enough money. It's not worth doing it now. It's just a different era altogether.
David Dean says, tell you what, Brian's a top bloke. Thanks very much for that. Bad Blood Podcast says, I've got a question for both of you guys. How excited are you to be part of the project like the Sears film, especially with a major company behind the project? What are you? I mean, you're delighted, aren't you, Brian? It's great. You're going to play yourself, of course.
Yeah, good question. I'm playing myself. It's easy to play yourself, I suppose, because what I was saying, we were up there and I was having to interrupt a few times for Paul Benson was playing Duffy. I wouldn't say this, and I was saying to Steve and Gary Fraser, I said, no, if you think it's wrong, just let us know, because obviously you were with him. You knew how we talked, you knew how he worked, you knew what he done. So we had a good time, didn't we, that day? And Steve was in, Stephen's dad come to see us, and Michael Serge come to see us. But I think it's a brilliant opportunity for people like Paul and Gary Fairby and myself. And I've been honoured to do it with people like you and the other actors over there, you know, playing John Serge, because yous had a bit, yous were acting, and you were accepting. I stood up and clapped and everyone got up because it was brilliant. You know, you could tell the difference between your acting and the other lads. But so I think we'll all get on good. But I thought we're all like a little family together there. No one had jealousy over anyone. No one's called people, and everyone was together. It was brilliant. And I was speaking to Gary Fairby yesterday, I think it was, about it. He said, it was brilliant. He said, you find, like, when you've got people like Paul Benson, Brian Cockerel and myself, he said, get on because we know what they're about, and you know, it's good to do it. But to get the acting, it's brilliant to get this part type of thing. So I'm looking really forward to it.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, you know, just to answer the question, it's exciting from everyone's perspective. I mean, I met Gary yesterday, and the script's in development now, and we're not too far away from, you know, the script being complete. I think about 6, 7, 8 weeks time, we'll have a first draft of the script, and then hopefully that leads us into lockdown being lifted more or less completely, and we'll take the next steps with it. But it is exciting times. Arena Basher says, did Brian ever frequent the arena in Borough? It was the best club in the North.
Yeah, loads of times. But I used to run the door there a few times and stop trouble in there. And the doorman who took it over owed me money, and they had Lewis Walsh, the gypsy lad, run the door. And Lewis had paid Brian's Fest, and I got the money off them. And I'd done a debt in there, so I've been everywhere taxing. Yeah, the arena was my old days. I used to do all the clubs. Yeah.
Macca says there've been a few fellas our way, same sort of people that Vivian Lee, all ended up the same way. Do you believe in karma? Do you think you reap what you sow, Brian?
I think so. I always say that's a good analogy. I think if you keep doing bad things all the time, bad things come back on you. But when you start doing good things, little doors start opening. But I've never been a bully. I've fought people fair and square and beat them, you know. No one can call me a bully. No one can say I've never grassed anyone in my life. I've never made a statement. I just tried to kill me in Tommy Harrison's house. I just said I fell over. They said I fell down the steps. They said, what type of steps? It was the steps that whipped you. I said the 99 steps I fell down. I was in that bad way. You don't make statements to police. You can't switch lanes. Like Stephen says, it's the same with Michael. They've never made statements. But other people up there, the other side, have made statements, and they've got tiny little sentences where I went up for a driving offence. I was expected to get probation. I got 3 years, and I fell down the stairs with the police would hit me on the edge of the trunk. I fell down the stairs into two, and I got arrested for assault on 2 police officers. I got 6 months for falling down the stairs. Just because of who I was. And the judge said, well, I'm astonished, Mr. Cockerel, you haven't been to jail before. And I said, well, how was that? Because I've never been to court before. So obviously the police have been telling me what I was. So when they're on you, the police, you can't beat the biggest gang in the world type of thing. So you've just got to. But I got, like I say, just 36 months for a driving offence. Anyone else just gets a ban and a community service order or something. So, but because of your name, it's not what you've done, it's what you've done and got away with. What you've been caught for.
Danny Gordon says, now then, big fella, fair play what you're doing.
Hey,
Last of the old school. Question is, ever thought about going into acting, which you are with a Sears film? Who would play you in your life film? So if you had a life film made
myself. I'd play myself. Well, I'm going to get you to get me into acting, so that's on your toes there, live on here now. So I'll get all the tips off you, mate. So I hope so. I feel like it's good. Something to do. It's really good and all. I like it being around the people like yourself and watching how they do it. I mean, I've always been wanting to be into the acting, so it's really good.
Pistol Pete says, how's your little boy doing, Brian? Seen him on the Donald McIntyre show. Never really seen my twin during lockdown. Yeah.
I just I don't really see much now because he's not around. He's moved away, so I think he's just getting on with his life type of thing,
David Dean says, did you ever drink in Felon, Brian? If so, where?
In where? Felling?
Yeah, Gateshead.
No, Gateshead. No, I've never been up that way. Friend, they wanted me to go up, Stevie Hammer and all them, and Jeff Brown and everything, but I got locked up. I was supposed to go to one of their weddings because they really got up. I used to do Elvis for them in jail. We used to have a few drinks in Wheelston, and I used to say Elvis on steroids. They used to say because I was like doing the king and that type of thing. We used to have a bit of laughter in jail, but yeah, nice lads. Like I say, I got on with everyone. I was with the Liverpool lads, got on with them. And wherever I go, I get on with people. Just the Manchester lads, got on with them, lads from Salford, pals down there. I've got pals all over the country, because I'm polite. I'm not aggressive. I'm not a bully. So when you've got them 3 combinations, people like you. But people say he didn't do this, and he can't bench 6 or he can't. And they're like 16-year-old or something, like you said before, the trolls. They don't even know who you are. They haven't got a clue what you've done. And they're making comments. I mean, one the other week made 25 comments on my page. It was the same person 25 times, all different comments. They were like rubbish. But they don't bother me because all they're doing is like Muhammad Ali said, the great Muhammad Ali said, the people who hate me pay money to see me beat. The people who love me pay money to see me win. So you can't lose. So them people who hate you on the YouTube are just making us more money type of thing. So thanks very much.
Yeah, Harry Monk says, respect to you, Brian.
Thank you, Harry Base.
Ellis says, there's no such thing as a local hard man these days. They would just be taken out took out the youth of today, don't value their life or anyone else's, which is what Macca was saying before, really. Yeah.
Well said, yeah.
Darren Tannock says, Tall Trees in Yarm was a class nightclub. Yeah, I used to go there.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Jason Suther says, Brian, I'm sure while you were taxing back in the day, was there ever a time you thought you might lose your life or get seriously hurt?
Well, once in Tommy Harris, they tried to kill me, and they had a boat ready when they were going to chop me up and put me in black bags and put me on the boat, take me to sea, and it's documented in Phil Benjamin's book. They were going to kill me. They wanted to try to kill me there, so that was frightening. And I was pouring the blood, nearly died. I lost 3 pints of blood, 67 or 76 stitches I got. And when they were taking me to the hospital, when I did the documentary with Jamie Boyle, and it's in there with Tucker, he saved my life. So thanks very much, Tucker. But that was probably the closest I come to death. At the time when I got shot out with guns, I've had shotguns on my stomach, people trying to shoot me, and you can't outrun a gun. So you stand and fight, you know what I mean? So I never take a gun to a knife fight. So these daft little things, cliches are all true.
Yeah, good stuff. Did Brian work or go to the arena in Borough? Great club days. Did you work there?
I worked there, and I got money up for going in and making sure there was no trouble in there. So I only had to pop in half an hour. I used to do all the pubs where nobody else would wear, like the King's Heads and all them type of pubs, all the rough pubs and pubs in like really rough areas where nobody there went. 4 or 5 dorm went, and all be stabbed up, and the lads from that area, but don't, because I knew all the mums and dads and that years ago. I'd go in with my brother, and we'd do like 20 pubs in one night. I'd get 30 quid a pub. It'd only be in 10 minutes, but nobody would work the doors, you see. So I used to do it for Punch Robson solicitors, and I'd done loads of pubs for them. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah, good stuff, mate. Next question is from Craig again. Is Brian going to do any audience with shows, live audience shows? We've got some lined up, haven't we? We're definitely going to be going back to Bishop Auckland, and we're doing Newcastle at the end of September.
That's right, yeah. So there's loads coming on, but obviously you can't book anywhere and do anything. I've done quite a few talks on the schools trying to get the kids, and I think it's fantastic when you sit there and there's like, say, 70, 80 kids all sat there from 3 schools, and you're talking, they're all like 40, 15, 16-year-olds, and they're listening with bated breath, and you come across and tell them the best thing to do is do this and do that, and some of them are listening to you, some might not, but if you can even change one kid's mind, you're doing a good job, you know. So if I can help the kids today and not do the same mistakes when I did yesterday and the day before and the day before, whatever, I can help them. I'm on the right path. I just want the kids to not be on that path. You know, I think in schools, it's great learning English and maths and things like that. But at the end of the day, I think they should be teaching them in the primary schools when they're like 9, 10, 11-year-old, what drugs do and what does when you stab someone and things like that. So then they learn not to go on that path. By the time they get to 15, they start trying to teach, and they're already on that path, so it's gone. So I think prevention's the course and that type of thing. So
yeah, 100%. I agree, Brian. I think that's really important, and I think people like yourself or Stephen Sayers or Paul Ferris or whatever going into schools wouldn't be a bad idea. You know, I mean, we talk about going into prisons and young offenders institutions, but I know as I've been a school governor, and you know, there's a lot of kids struggle. There's a lot of kids don't like to go to school, and going and listening to someone like you and saying, look, if you don't stick in, you know, if you continue on the road that you're going down, this isn't going to lead to a great life for you, you know. Dan,
well said.
Anybody wants to get tickets for the evening with me, Brian and Stephen in Newcastle, if you go to www.newcastlelegends.com, you can get tickets on there. There's tickets on sale. They're only a tenner. We've done about a third of the tickets for that already. So I mean, I think people are starting to realise we'll probably be out of lockdown by then, so that would be good.
Yeah.
Daniel Gordon says, would love to meet you one day, Bri. Respect. Been trying to get Steve to get me in acting for 12 years now, so maybe one day I'll be in a film with you. We can get him as a victim, can't we, Brian? We can get him getting tapped off you.
Get him as a punch bag or something. That's what we're going to do with Jamie Boyle, I think.
Jeff
Mason.
Mason.
Been one taxing him, I think.
Jeff Mason, he says, what's the biggest amount you ever taxed, Brian?
250 grand in a week. And that's why they tried to kill me in that house. So it was a lot of money. You're talking probably £1 million now. But you just give it away. You give it away to people, friends and family, and you just go on holidays and spend it. You can't keep it. You can't buy houses and things like that. You just get caught. So you just give it away. You crack us some money out. Millions of pounds I've given away and spent on whatever, drugs and everything, parties and everything. But I didn't think I'd make this type of age. I didn't think I'd make it. I'd be like the Duffy God, you know. I didn't think I'd make it past 27 the way I was going. Liv Duffy used to say to me, you've got too much bottle, you, Brian. You're kicking doors and they could have guns behind the doors and things. You just don't care. I just think it's that thing. I was born in Scotland. All my family are Scottish and Irish, you know, descendants and that, but they're all from Scotland, like live there now. But they came from Ireland and before, and then they moved to there, and my nanas and all that are Scottish type thing. So I think it's off them Celtic warriors I've got that bottle from type of thing. But I haven't now, though. I'm just quiet now.
Dave Hazel says, loving this podcast. 2 of my favourite people chatting. Thanks very much, Dave.
Oh, thanks very much, Dave.
Lee Ellison says, Steve Wraith, what stage is the film and what date is release, and is there a premiere or anything upon release? It's very early days with the script being written at the minute. You know, obviously some of the main characters have been cast, but there'll have to be more casting, and I'm anticipating, as long as the finance comes in, that it probably wouldn't start filming until 2021. So that's where we're at with that. Pistol Pete says, Brian seems a very genuine bloke. Matty Roundtree says, have you ever been to Blackpool, Brian?
Yes, I have a couple of times. We went once, me and my friends. I don't know if you know this trick. You used to get a 10-pence piece and you used to put like a cling film, like a metal stuff around them, and it'd weigh the same as a 50-pence. We used to put them in the machines and get 50-pence change, so you'd make 40-pence off 10-pence. And me and my friend Paul Coke from Redcar, we used to go on the weekend and come home like, you know, a couple £100 or something. And we went on this gonk, you know, them gonks you win on the machine when it picks it up. We won 44 gonks and we sold them for £1 each in his shop, and the machine was broke. It kept winning all the time. So yeah, we had good laughs. I've only been a couple of times, you know. Yeah. Full scouts. Sorry.
Craig Poppin says he needs his book signed. Well, we'll have to sort that out when we do one of these audience wids. Ellis says, Brian seems completely different to when he done the Donald McIntyre documentary. I know he was younger, but he seems a lot more humble now. I mean, you know, you have changed, Brian, haven't you? You have changed.
Yeah.
But when the camera's on you as well, you're asked to perform, and it's
Exactly.
and also there's the edit as well, isn't there? It's how they edit it.
Well, they have a thing that they're given, as you know, a script. Right, won't Brian have a fight? I said, I can't have a fight. I'm not one of these people who can dance down and have a pretend fight. Some hits me in the face or nose. I'm in them like a bull with a red flag. So I couldn't do that. And they want me to have these, and then they want to attack somebody live, kick a door. I said, that's a bit of burglary and robbery. Oh, we'll figure the face out. I'll leave the police or someone get to put the faces back on. You know, so I said, no, we can't do them. So we did it. And Donald was just on the phone the other day, texted me to see if I was doing anything. So, so all they want what they need. You know, I think having a film, they need this and it, and they need that. And so sometimes I had a bit of a follow with one of the directors in it, and a lad called Michael Simpkin come from Dare Films. He sat and talked with a really clever man, and he said, "We'll do it how you want to do it." So in the end, we did it but it was what I used to do. I can't paint round it and say, "Oh, I didn't do that," because that's what we done. And in them days, you can't say, "I might win the fight." You can't go into a fight and say, "You've got to act big-headed. You've got to be inside. You've got to I'm going to win this fight. I'm going to smash his face. I win this." And you can't talk to them. Go, like I'm talking to you now. I'll give you a jolly biff on the nose. You've got to go and smash your fucking face. You've got to go a bit violent with people, and it's like acting in a way, fighting. You know. Show your teeth like a lion does, or a dog goes to bite and fucking anything you got bit there. So you've got to do what they say on the script, or the film won't be made. But it's totally different now because I wouldn't do anything like that because I've changed my life completely.
Yeah, Changing the Game UK says, guys, need to head off. Great as always, Steve. Take care, Brian. Hope to see you both soon. Yeah, God bless you, mate.
Yeah,
yes. Pistol Pizza is really looking forward to the Sears film. Great idea. I hope it's a box office smash. Thanks, Pete.
Thank you.
Jason says, Brian, when you were younger, did you ever have an interest in crime or a crime family? Like when Steve was younger, he was interested in the craze and got to meet and do stuff for them. Were you ever interested in crime families, Brian?
No, not families, but I used to watch all the Candy movies, You Dirty Rotten.
Did you?
And, like Angels with Dirty Faces and all them. And so I got all my stuff from them. All that stuff, like, no, don't tell the police out and don't grass anyone. And even when you die and things. So I used to watch all them. All gangster films, I used to love them. Humphrey Bogart films and all that type of stuff. So I was brought up there because I lived with my grandma quite a bit on and off. We used to watch them when I used to go on the bank on the Mondays and things like that. We used to watch the old black and white films. So yeah, I've always been. I was one of them. I never wanted to be a cop. I always wanted to be the criminal type thing. So yeah, I used to want to be an astronaut as well. But I think when I was on the track, I was an astronaut. I was in outer space.
John B. asks.
The thing with me is, you know, Steve, I tell the truth. I just don't like it. It's just. Because
exactly.
That's big in the ass, yeah.
Exactly. John B. saying tea party. What that means is when I've been interviewing the Newcastle players, I've always asked them, if you went to a tea party, which celebrities, they can be dead or alive, would you take, Brian? Who would you take to a dinner party or a tea party?
Have to come with me, wouldn't she? Because she'd fill me in, wouldn't she? Yeah. And I was talking about the other day, I said I'd probably have taught Winston Churchill, which I thought was a brilliant person. And there could be quite a few of mine. There'd be Napoleon, maybe. And people like, Abraham Lincoln, and I don't go on a few others, but is that so many good people? Even Gandhi and people like that, those people who have done fantastic things in their lives,
Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah, good stuff, mate. Good answer. I hope that answers your question, John. Stan Smith says, was there any talk of Brian fighting Lenny McLean in the early 90s?
There was, but it was just crap, There was talk about Lee Duffy fighting him, and Tommy I was supposed to get him a fight, but Lenny McQueen was a lot older than me, so it'd be disrespectful to somebody of my age and then fighting somebody his age. It's like somebody having a fight with me now who's 20 odd and I'm 50 odd, you just don't have the same chance. If you're coming up with a good lad who can fight and you're 55, you're not going to win the fight. It's just like Mike Tyson. He's not going to be able to beat people like Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder and things like that. It's impossible. So just know when Father Time comes and time one for no man, you just got to think, well, I can't do no. Plus, I don't want to do it no more. It's not my thing. It's not fear or anything. It's just I'd rather help people than hurt people now, which is a total better thing, I think.
Of course it is, Brian. Of course it is. Tim Kern says, "What's your hobbies, Brian? What's your hobbies?"
Emma Cockerel.
At the moment, training.
Yeah, training. We train on the way, both of us. We go out for the day. We have nice meals. We go and see family. We just help people on the Facebook, and she helps people, and she talks to people, and I talk to people. We help people all over, and we go and see our family members. But obviously, we can't with the lockdown, and we just enjoy life to the full, Yeah, we go to bed on the night and watch a bit of telly, the box sets and things like that. So we're into a telly buffs type of thing. So might get on Google Box one day.
Daniel Gordon says he could play the young taxman, Taxing Steve. We'll look at getting up to Newcastle from Liverpool for the night and meet you and Stephen Sears. God bless, big fella. Thanks very much,
Thank you very much, mate. God bless.
Jonathan White seems determined to get you a fight. He says, Brian, would you be interested in a fight with John Fury for charity? You've hung your gloves up, haven't you?
I've heard this about 30 times in the last 2 weeks, you know, but I don't want to follow up with his son. I'll get filled in up with his son.
Lee Ellison's offering Indians, he says, and a few San Miguel's. Great last 2 hours. Thanks, Stephen. Bryce, stay safe. Thanks, Lee.
Thank you very much, Lee.
Alice says, yeah, Channel 4 done that with the Benefit Street in Birmingham. They were buying smack and super tenants for the addicts, out of order, really. Yeah, I remember Benefit Street, and I did think it was a little bit off. Yeah.
They set people up like there. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, David Dean's laughing. He says the Roaring Twenties, talking about your addiction to those kind of gangster films. I loved all of those old ones as well. Like, they're fantastic.
Main Street was good, and all the old with the 70s gangster films. I like all the old stuff better because I think the actors were better than they are now. No disrespect to you, though.
Yeah. Harry Monk says, Paul Tucker says, hello, guys. Hi, Paul. Hope you're well.
Hi, Paul, mate.
Nicholas Shepherd. Hello, Brian. Just one question for you, mate. Tell me, all that you've done in that life of crime, good and bad, was it worth it?
Yeah, at the end of the day, it is, because I'm helping people now. Like I said, I've saved 20-odd people from committing suicide. I'm going on people's, helping people in the community, and I'm going around the schools and helping the kids not do what I've done. So if I didn't do what I've done, I couldn't advise them what to do. So we're doing quite good with the schools and things like that. And we're going to try and get into the prisons. I've been offered to go in the prisons as well now. So it's starting to pick up, you know. And what I'm saying is coming across, you know, crime doesn't pay. I mean, average shopkeeper, an average man who works on the bins gets £400 a week. That's 20 grand a year. And that's enough to feed your family and look after yourself. You don't need to have a £1 million house. You don't need a 200 grand car. £500 car gets you just the same as a 20 grand car for mate to be. So it's all just things that they're not beneficial, you know. So all these type of things, as long as you're content, the most important thing in life is to be healthy, to be happy, and to be content. And I'm content with that, with my wife and my house and things like that. So I don't really need much more, you know. I'm really happy.
Yeah, John Stutter says, Brian, have you ever taken or considered taking part in any strongman contests?
Yes, I got an invite to the Britain's Strongest Man, because I was doing the big massive lifts in the jail. And when I got out, the scrub said you should do it. So when I was doing my lifts in a gym in Yarm, a lad videoed me and he took it to the English Strongest Man. There was a lad called Jamie Reeves who won it, and there was a couple of other Britain's Strongest Men down there, and they were doing the stuff where you had to do the event. So my mate went down with little Brian Flaherty, and he went Steve Atkins, they call him, and he had a camcorder. And anyway, he was filming them because I was like just getting the deadlifts and stuff at the time. So anyway, I did £600 for 10 reps on the deadlift, and when they went down there, some of them couldn't even get 1 or 2 reps. So anyway, what they've done is a lad came over, Jamie Bar, I think they called him. He was the British Scottish Strongest Man. He came on, said, can I have a look at my mate, because he videoed this lad doing a deadlift. So it went back to me on the video, and he went, who the fucking hell? I was 24 stone, and I had like, not abs, I was monstrous, and I was carrying 50 kg dumbbells. I was benching 600 pounds. I went, fuck, come here. They all come over, looked at it. And then about an hour later, I got a phone call off Jamie Reeves, wanted me to compete without even doing anything, because he'd seen me in the gym, obviously, through the camcorder, and he gave me an invite to go. But sadly, 3 days before the competition, I twisted my knee, and it went up like a balloon. But there was a lad called from Spennymoor, I can't get his name now. He came second 3 or 4 times. I think he come, and he said, I told him I was squatting over 800 pounds. And you see it on YouTube, you see I've got 8.5 plates each end. The bar's bending. I squatted that, and that was Steve Brooks. He was called. He was trained for the Britain's Strongest Man. But he hasn't got that. I've got letters in the house and everything off the Strongest Man competition people. So yeah, I think I'd have done really well.
Simon Corley says, fair play to Brian, a tough man and sorted his life out. Did you ever have any experiences in Manchester or Wigan or Bolton? All the best, lads.
Bolton, yeah. Funny this one, you should say Bolton. We went, I think it was Oldham or Bolton. I'm not sure, I think it was Bolton. And we went down there, and there was a nightclub that we used to have. John Black used to work for, old-time boxing trainer. He taught Lee Duffy to fight, and he taught me. and we were in a place that was called Henry Africans. It was all done out like an African scene. And we went to one in Bolton. They showed us what it was like down there. Anyway, it was all drag people, people and drag and everything. And I thought, that won't work up the northeast. You wouldn't have it, especially in the 80s. Anyway, we went down there. And a load of these football hooligans come in. We ended up had a set about, and the police turned up and everything. So sometimes you're glad when the police turn up. You've got to run with the knives and stuff. So, yeah. So that's that. And I've been to Manchester down Salford way with kids who I know and people. And what's the other? Stockport. Another pal there who runs everything down there. I've been down there, sorting trouble out.
John B says, who do you think will win, Fury or AJ?
I think Tyson Fury. I think he'll outbox him. I think I love AJ. Don't get me wrong, he's fantastic, but he's a little bit like Frank Bruno, a bit robotic. He's a little bit stiff, and I think he got beat off that other kid, that Andy Rhodes. You know what I mean? And he struggled in the next fight with him. So I think Tyson'd be too fast for him. Just too much power. You know.
Paul B says he loved your book, and he says, I hope you're doing okay too. To me, thank you. Cheers, Paul.
Cheers, mate.
Pistol Pete says, how are the lads? John B says, another great show, Steve. Something good to watch while we're in lockdown. I hope you carry on after the lockdown. I'll try my best. Paul Coombs says, Steve, ask Brian who's the most famous person in his book. Lovely lad.
Who's most famous person in my book?
Yeah, in your phone book.
On my phone book? Don't know, probably. Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Stephen Wraith.
Ellis says, did you have any business in Birmingham? Did you ever do any taxing in Birmingham?
I'm down there to help a lad called Bale King from that way, I do believe. And he's a fighter. I was talking to Gary Furby the other day about him. So he's a good lad. So he wants me to go in the corner for him to fight for a title. So that should be good. Yeah. Alan
Hopper says, did Lee Duffy come up to Sunderland much?
No, not Sunderland. No, he was mainly Newcastle. Newcastle where he went. You know, he never even went to Hartlepool, places like that. He was always he was mainly Middlesbrough, never really Stockton. Only comes to Stockton when I was Stockton. It was mainly Middlesbrough and Newcastle.
Yeah. David Dean says, Big Bri for Mayor of Borough.
Yeah, I was going to run for the mayor. But the only reason I went to run for the mayor, I was going to get the gold chain and pawn it in to John Ramsden's.
Robert Pine's wanting to know if it was a rumour that you chinned King Kong when you were a baby and saved America.
I'm not sure. I think I was King Kong when I was a baby. When you come to my house, if you remember, there's a gorilla on the table, and Stephen says that there's Brian as a baby, like a little baby gorilla. So,
I remember that. Yeah. Craig Popham says, the best live podcasting setup I've seen for a while. I'll check this night out in Newcastle. www.newcastlelegends.com. He says he's going to come up from Kent to get his book signed. All the best, fellas. That's great. Well, listen,
brilliant. No problem.
It's always good to get feedback and positive feedback. And that hour's obviously flown over. I'm just going to give Dave Mackay the last question. He says, have you been watching Darren G's podcasts? Choose a Life, Not a Knife. Seems to be doing good work. Yeah, I watched that. I don't know whether you've had time to watch Darren G on James English's podcast. He's a Scouser, but it was quite a tough watch. It was nearly 3 hours long. Very, very good, though.
Yeah. Right. Not really, no. Just we've just been working and things like that, well, my brothers, that, so it's not much.
You don't need to explain. You're newly married, Brian. I know what you're doing.
I know that, yeah.
Listen, Brian, as I said, once we get out of lockdown, I will come down and we'll do a proper interview with you. That'll be great. And thanks for taking the time to come on, mate.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks for everyone out there buying the book. And God bless everyone, and make sure you stay safe.
Yeah, Resurrection of Brian Cockerel, available from Warcry Publishing, $12.95, well worth a read. And don't forget, if you want to come and see Brian, you'll be able to see him in Newcastle, the back end of September, newcastlelegends.com for tickets. Brian, love to you when I'm at. See you after the lockdown finishes.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Bye-bye. Great to have Brian on. Absolutely superb guest. Something a little bit different. Thanks for everybody tuning in. Thanks, Jason. Really enjoyed tonight. Great answers and stories. Thank you both to us. Class lads from Steve Hutchinson, Doug Hall, great stuff. I could listen to this all night, never mind an hour. Cheers, David Dean. Thanks, Dave Hazel as well. Listen, thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Glad to do something a little bit different just to help you all out. Please share tonight's podcast. Share it to the gangster groups and stuff that you're on. I will try and get a few other faces on at some point. Just give it a share, guys. Helps me out, and subscribe to the channel. Massive respect. Brian takes a real man to turn his life around. When you're in that world, Another great interview by Stephen. All the best, Petty Elvin. Thanks very much. Is this going to be regular? Look, I'm going to certainly keep the podcast up after lockdown. I'm going to make them a bit more professional. Neil Jackson from Media Arts is going to help us out. And this weekend, I'm going to have Gary Furby on, the governor, who currently holds the governor belt. And I'm going to do a live Q&A myself with Neil Jackson. He's going to interview me about my new book, Every Boy's Dream. So that's going to be a course of the weekend. So keep an eye out on the channel for updates. Have a good night, guys. Good night. God bless. Wish you well.